My name is Harry, and I'm from London.
Meghan Markle here.
Alright, so I already did my recording. I actually did 2 hours worth of recording. I don't know what I was searching for. This came under my timeline and I wanted to listen to it, so I said let me record it. At Patrick Egg King, who threw eggs at King Charles, says the monarchy is an illegitimate institution and points to Rojava in northern Syria as having a preferable system. At Rachel Johnson. Alright, so let's listen. 2 minutes and 24 seconds. I'm sorry, I might have to put some screenshots. Alright, so let's listen. Should I go in it? Yeah, let's go in it.
Hi, Patrick. Good to be here. Then why did you do it?
Because the monarchy is a fundamentally undemocratic and illegitimate institution, and the people of this country deserve better. We deserve to live in a true democracy, and that's never going to happen whilst we have a monarch who claims that by right of blood he's superior to us and deserves to own like 5% of all the land in this country or something like that.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people listening will think what you say is logical, and it does seem very entitled, literally entitled, to elevate one family above all others and to have one crowned and anointed with holy oil as if he is somehow a semi-divine being and therefore above us. I think a lot of people would say it's so illogical, it's so mad, that we might as well stick with it because we don't have a better system.
Yeah, well, like, I think there are better systems out there in the world, to be honest. If we
Name one. Name one. Point to a country where you think it works better.
Okay, Rojava in northern Syria is an area that governs itself through direct democracy. Have you heard of Rojava, where the Kurds live? You might have, like, they defeated ISIS. All women battalions of
I have heard of the women fighters, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so what's more interesting is their entire political structure that they have there, where they use direct democracy to govern themselves at the local level, each town and each village, people making decisions that affect their own lives according to...
Well, we're having local elections in May. I mean, don't we have local director of democracy too?
As I'm listening to him, wow. This, I didn't even know about this, what he's mentioning it, but he knows what he's talking about. This is Johnson, I believe that's Boris Johnson's sister or something like that. So why didn't she let him finish? But then there I am, I'm interrupting, but let's listen.
No, because the difference between direct democracy and representative democracy is that you're not just voting for someone every 5 years who promises that they're going to make things better and then they break all their promises, or they're, you vote for them, but they're bound by central governments giving them a pittance for a budget, so they have to be the ones to cut social services, and then the Tories get to pass on the blame to whichever party carried it out in local government. Instead, direct democracy is like having everyone can come to a forum, like your local church or somewhere on a Sunday, and people can say, what kind of future do we want to create for ourselves in our community? Do we want free public transport? Do we want nurses to be paid a fair wage? On those issues, there is massive broad consensus across the country, far more so than you'd believe from the way that our polarized party politics works. And so when people...
Oh, damn it. I wish I could hear some more. Let's see here. I've never seen the media focus on the protesters with facts and figures to back their argument, but they make the time for the protester who look like a twat. British media reporting without fear and favor again. Okay, fascinating take on the absolute monarchy. It's certain an irrelevant, outdated, corrupt, and self-serving institution. There's the laugh. Good lad. I'll stick with what works well, thanks. Okay, what works well? What you have now?
Look at the fact that just on energy alone, on a conservative estimate within 1 year, we're talking £1,300 a year going up in bills. We're going to have about 10 million people in fuel poverty. We have a real absolute, not relative, poverty issue going to come in the UK, with food banks oversubscribed, with debt crisis agencies do not have any tools. And I need to say, with the Chancellor coming on in a moment, if you forgive me, as the money-saving expert who's been known for this, I am virtually out of tools to help people now. It's not something money management can fix. It's not something for those on the lowest incomes telling them to cut their belts will work. We need political intervention.
I'll stick with what works well, thanks. Okay, what works well? What you have now?
I'm a dinner lady in Lancashire, and just before the summer holidays, when the cost of living crisis really started kicking off, I've just noticed I spend as much time taking food away from children as I do serving it. And to be honest, it's not what I took the job for. You know, I never dreamt that I'd be having to tell children, you can't have that, you've no money on your account. And it used to be, you know, when I first started a year ago, okay, once a month, there might, you know, parents forget to put money on at the beginning of the month, and you get that. But now you're talking 10 to 15 children a shift every day, every single day. And I'm saying, you can't have that, there's no money, you know. And it's breaking my heart. You know, you see them, they're in a queue full of all their peers and other school children, and it's humiliating for them. It's so humiliating. They just look at you like, well, what am I going to eat? And it's like, I can't give you anything. I'm sorry, you know. And I'm just dreading going back to work. I'm dreading October. And to be honest, it's getting to the point where I'm just like, I don't even think I can do this job anymore. I didn't take the job on to starve children. I'm sorry, it's just... You know, it's just something has to give, and I just don't think it should be children's spirits. You know, I'm sorry, I just...
I'll stick with what works well, thanks. Okay, what works well? What you have now?
Now, taking a look at poverty and health back here in Britain. Now, this week saw the inquest into the death of the young boy Awab Ishak. And the conclusion was that toxic mould in his house had led to his death. Now, to explore this story further and how this reveals a lot about our health system and health inequalities in this country, we're now joined by a GP, Sonia Adesera. Thank you for joining us, Sonia. Can you tell our viewers a bit about the inquest and this young boy's death and what emerged from it?
Yeah, so it found that the cause of this death was mould in the house. We know that the impact that mould has on people's health, and we know that children are particularly vulnerable to mould. So when you are, if you're living in a house with damp or mould, you're at increased risk of having breathing problems, increased risk of respiratory infections, increased risk of being hospitalised. It also affects your immunity. And young people, particularly babies, but also elderly, are more sensitive to that. So we know that the impact that it has on health, and you know, it's just, in this case, stated quite explicitly that mould was the cause of the death. And also what this case said is that the parents had repeatedly complained and that they were ignored. And this is something that I see in my clinic. So I work in Tottenham, and do you know what, I've actually, you know, I was really, when I watched that case and I saw the news, it really hit me, because I've spoken to many other parents, you know, particularly actually often mums, single mums, who and actually
not an isolated case.
It's not an isolated case.
I'll stick with what works well, thanks. Okay, what works well? What you have now?
Last night my wife spent an hour trying to glue my daughter's school shoes back together because we can't afford to buy her a new pair. I mean, I'm 65, I've worked all my life, and we can't afford £20 for a pair of shoes. There's something wrong with society. I can't remember the last time I went to a pub, because I can't pay, you know, £5 for a pint. It's beyond my means. So the local pub's now closed. Not entirely due to me not going there, but that's closed.
I'll stick with what works well, thanks. Okay, what works well? What you have now?
So with the gas, electric and my mortgage, that's 75% of my wages gone, without anything else, without any, you know, council tax, water rates, car insurance, petrol, food, any of that. 75% of my wages gone.
I'll stick with what works well, thanks. Okay, what works well? What you have now?
Do you find it hard?
Yes, yes.
And so are you optimistic at all about the future? Optimism. It's not a word I use a lot these days. I'm not familiar with the term.
So, in my humble opinion, what happened to our system, our democracy system, is that someone cracked the code. Where, for instance, you see that there are laws, representative, and all of that. So what has happened with our democracy system is that they realize, okay, so they want representative to speak on their behalf. So let's represent them. So they bring themselves to run for office, and then once they come in office, they do, the bad guys who cracked the code decided to do as they please. And the thing is that they put no consequences. If they do something, there is no consequences. So what we need to do is readjust our system accordingly. Now, for instance, guns. The whole purpose for having guns in the United States was to protect ourselves from foreign armies, from, I believe, Native American as well, and the government. I'll look it up, but that was the whole premises for me. So once the bad guys realized, oh, they could carry guns, they could do this, let's pour money into the system and let them kill themselves so we don't have to meet them in the battlefield. So that was part of that. So you have the people who become part of the government system, and then let them have guns, let them kill themselves, okay? And then at the same time, pretend you don't see there's any problem, okay? So every system, there is a way of cracking it, and guess what? Nothing is written on stone. You could always adjust and readjust, modernize it, okay? The democracy system needs to be modernized. The, what is it, what kind of system they have in the UK? The monarchy system. They don't want to they do not want to modernize. Guess what? You still have a choice. Get rid of them, because you could vote them out. And the people, the monarchy know the code. Okay? So what do? They befriended people that will help support their cause, and then put them in office. And have like I've said in other videos, they have someone in every station, every post. It's almost like a baseball. There's 3 bases. So, and on all of those bases, they cover themselves. Whenever there's something that's going to happen, they quickly adjust that system to protect them. So there is a code. We know there's a problem, but yet you guys keep on voting for the same people who allow the system to happen. Okay, look what happened in the United States. The bad guy cracked the code. Look who they had elected to be president. Trump. So what did the people do? They readjust themselves. Okay, some of the Republicans saw the sign. This is not someone they want to represent them, even though it is part of their party. They did what they had to do and vote him out. It's not just Democrats who voted for Biden. There were Republicans. So every system, there is a code for it to be cracked. So the bad guys know the code. What we need to do is readjust ourselves. The monarchy know the code. They put people in every station that will protect their interests. And whenever the code is going to be cracked, what do? They readjust themselves. Not them, the system. They readjust the law to benefit them. So let's get back to the original recording. That comment really got me. Where so many people can even feed their family, right? Heating bills and all of this. Okay, give me one good reason why I should care about this bloody expensive shiny hat party. Okay, it's just the family that gave us the building blocks for Western democracy. No big deal, really. And certainly nothing to be thankful for. Okay, a better way to spend May 6th is to hold people's assembly across the country on, quote, what kind of a country do we want to live in? What are our values and what future do we want? Then collect the answers as the basis for a new constitution for the Democratic Confederation. Okay, what an articulate, intelligent young man. What an articulate, intelligent young man. I'm a Republican, but this guy is really annoying. How is he annoying? They call him and they ask him a question and he's answering it. Okay, agree with the chap. Seems like a good egg, to be honest. A good egg. Okay, after this I need to get back to editing. It's already 2:35. Okay, why on earth does Johnson do a program at LBC? She is a pathetic excuse for a journalist. Please, LBC, don't keep doing this kind of thing about the king, or you will because you can. Oh yes, all right. That's that let's stick their bums up the west. Okay, the entitled unelected Saxe Coburn Gotha family, that's the Wall family, and what they represent have no place in a country wanting to be a democracy. A constitutional monarchy is not democracy. It feeds elitism and massive class divide. Abolish the monarchy. Intelligent and articulate young men. And one thing that I realized with the British monarchy is that they know how to play all sides. And this is the issue that I've had from reading different things, and certain things just did not make sense to me based on their behavior. You know, when we read certain things and history about them, and then when we see the way they behave, it's just that didn't work well for me. So what really seems to be opening up my eyes is the recent war in Ukraine and Russia. I spoke about it on another video. I'm not gonna go in full detail here. It's just that they love to play both sides. Okay, and also when we look at the Five Eyes, I learned about it from reading about heavy security. So what do? To protect themselves, they have all countries, not all, the Five Eyes, which is the United States, Canada, which is part of their Commonwealth, New Zealand, Australia, and Great Britain, who teamed up to share intelligence. For the monarchy, this intelligent system will help protect them. They will know if anything will affect them. Okay? But the other thing that I realized as well is that the UK, the citizen of the UK, should be very careful. Once they are ready to do the proper step, they should be fully committed to that, because when something like that needs to be changed, perfect example, look what happened in Iran. Those ladies who protest trying to get their freedom, to freedom of expression. Okay, what do? What do these people do? They literally put laws where they could kill you. So don't be surprised if the system turn against you. So if you are truly ready to change the system, don't be surprised if the monarchy turn it against you. And then the thing also that I've seen is that I don't really think it's the royal family running the show. Okay, this is not to give them any pass whatsoever, because I truly believe, I have no proof of this whatsoever, it's just my fully humble opinion, is that the minute the Queen father died, I don't know who was around the king when he was sick or whatever, they quickly got rid of him, and then they made sure to, I don't know, control her, her meaning Queen Elizabeth. Okay, make her believe certain things, certain laws, this is what goes, this is what that, whatever. Okay, and then when she had married Prince Philip, they had already, how will I say that, minimize him. minimize him in a sense where he can't say certain things. I assume, or from this point, everything that I'm saying is purely my humble opinion, because this cannot possibly be. When you look at Prince Philip, who is a man who was in the military, and he probably will most likely give the Queen good advice and, be, by her side on every issues, which I think he did. Okay, we have to give him credit. Whatever he had promised the country and the Queen for minimize him, and I think he did. I'm not talking about, there's different branch of this. I'm not talking about his affair or anything like that. Okay, but in terms of the institution, I think he did that. So we have to give credit where credit is due. But the system, okay, who allow him to be there, made sure for him not to give his voice, because the system, which, like I said, they got rid of the king, and they the one who's in control. Okay, the people, I don't know, I don't want to name names, but the people behind the scene that we will never know. I would say, for instance, the people who were for slavery, and they wanted that type of cruelty to continue because it was a business for them. These type of people, I think, that's running the show. They find their way to get into the monarchy system, and then they're running the show. They're the one who's running the show. Now, if the monarchy, like the Charles or William, I don't know, William is so deep into delusional thing, he can't see reality anymore. He's part of them because they groom him since child. They got rid of his mother, and they've been grooming Charles to be part of them. Okay, those business people. And then there's William. They got rid of his mother, who was bright, to teach him the proper thing. Remember, Princess Diana was teaching William about the needy, the homeless, and all of that, because once he become the sovereign, these are his subject. These are the people you should be caring about. Okay, so they got rid of her. No, this is voice of reasoning. Get rid of her, and then groom William to be part of them. And you could see William is pretty much part of them, the system. But what happened with the two brothers is that they never pay attention to Harry. Look how they treat Harry. When you read his book or you watch the documentary, things that you've seen, him shopping at discount stores and all of that. Okay, they never really care about Harry. So which was good in a way, because Harry get to experience, get to see how the people live. So he thought that was unfair. So these are the things that Princess Diana was trying to instill into William, who will be the sovereign, because once you have the people behind you, don't worry about anything else, because the people will protect you. If you're making the people happy, you're giving them what they want, food, shelter, not for free, but make it somewhat fair, this kind of thing. They will stand by you. Okay, so you could see why the people now, a very good amount of people, are starting to say, we don't want you anymore. Why? Because the system, the monarchy, is not really protecting them. They're struggling, they're working hard, they still can't make anything out of themselves. You got people who go to huge university. There's, like the NHS that I've been reading about and hearing on social media. Okay, they're cutting their salaries. But these people went to school. They need to pay their bills. They need to pay the school back. But they still can't do it with the good education. So the system is not working for them. So if the sovereign had stood by the people, they won't have anything to worry about. So you have the Tories or whoever try to control the monarchy, who's pretty much, I think, who's running the show, like I've said already. Okay, they protecting themselves, their own interests, their own pocket, this kind of thing. So yeah, that's what I see. And if William and Charles have stood by the people, they won't have anything to worry about. William is already far deep into that. I don't know how he's gonna change, but I think, okay, Charles had a slight little chance in him, but the thing is that they groom him to be afraid of every little thing. Or if you do this, then this is gonna happen. Many times I've seen certain instances where Charles have spoken common sense, but the system shut him down. So, and I think this is the thing that Harry sees in his father, but Charles is afraid of a lot of things. But William, I don't know. I really don't know how William will have any revelation, but Charles is already old. You know, his time is in the essence. I don't know if, it's gone. The system is gone. All right, because look, when you look at Charles' age, and then when you look at William, and he's already part of those people, and you have his son, I don't know. Maybe there would have been a hope for William's son, but when you look at in terms of the mother's side, you would have thought that maybe the mother's side will teach him something different, but they already stuck their head up the system ass to be accepted.
So who's got Prince William? Prince William's thing? Really? That's yours? Yeah. Really? Right. Now we're connected. Gosh. When did it start? This is my niece's Caitlin. Oh really? All right. That's great. So, hang on. Does this mean if your niece marries Prince William, that means you become uncle to the Queen? Well, yeah, after Charles. After Charles, you will be the uncle to the Queen of the United Kingdom. I'm going to be the Duke of Slough.
So hang on, how are you related?
My sister's daughter.
Your sister's daughter?
Yeah, I'm in bloodline.
Hang on.
It's Kate Middleton.
Yeah.
Who's getting married to William.
Yeah.
So when Charles is king.
Oh dear.
And then William's king.
Yeah.
Kate will be queen.
Carol Goldsmith married Mike Middleton.
Hang on, you'll be able to go to Buckingham Palace.
I've got my own room. The Goldsmith wing.
I'm just scoot on over and let you whack him. Get him again. Get him for me.
I really don't see how things is gonna change. Their values, meaning the William's wife with the kids, okay, I really don't know if there's any chance anymore. I really don't see any chance. If they had their own core values, their principles, they don't allow people to treat their daughters the way that William is treating Kate in public and all of that, maybe there could have been hope for the kids. It will take a miracle. Like I've said in other videos, it will take a miracle for the kids to change, to see the light that Harry have seen. Okay, so that's it. All right, so that's it. I wanted to listen to it and I saw it, might as well record. All right, when you're gonna see it, I have no clue. All right, so that's it.
Lavanaka. It is a great privilege to be with all of you today.
You know, we ask for forgiveness and please come back.
As you saw me find the love and happiness that I'd hoped for all my life. You are all in this together, and if I may speak personally, we are all in this together, because asking for help was one of the best decisions that I ever made. You will be continually amazed how life changes for the better